Perfect. So we're all set up now to record. So I'm going to just take us to our ELN homepage. Um, we have transitioned a lot of our remote resources to be really directly accessible from all of our most visited websites. So I'll go to our remote projects in a second, but I want to share with you a little bit about um, our model. I'm not sure if you have seen this video before, but given the current circumstances, it's just a minute and 20, and I'll let you see that on your own. But I wanted to just really briefly touch on sort of our vision for the best practices of experiential learning, which goes just a bit farther than best practices in our field of experiential learning. The three biggest pillars that a lot of people see in experiential learning is the intentional preparation for the experience, that an experience be meaningful, deep, and mentored, and that there is critical reflection at the end that integrates the student experience with their future professional and academic goals. What the experiential learning sort of adds to that is this right here. You'll see add value. And that's to really consider the ways that these projects are mutually beneficial. So whether that it's a faculty mentor or a community mentor, who does the work benefit? Of course, the work should benefit directly that community organization or that faculty research lab, but how does it also intentionally benefit the student? And so we think of add value really as the intentionality behind the mutually beneficial learning experience. And in a lot of ways that can be overlooked when we're designing experiential learning opportunities for students. And then the last part, leverage, the last letter of the Pearl model, is to build on the experiences towards the greater impact and craft of becoming a change maker with your experiences. So often the way I describe this with students is that when we're done with experiences, we put them up on a shelf, and then we move on to the next thing. But we don't necessarily intentionally connect those experiences, no matter how recent, towards our future goals, both professionally and academically. So we put leverage in here to intentionally always be working towards transitioning towards the future and building, particularly for students, building their portfolios. So this is links really well to everything that's going on right now in the UB curriculum. All of these things, if we think about them through the lens of the ePortfolio as a tool to leverage the student experiences, again, it's just thinking from an intentionality perspective. So the Pearl model is really the foundation for all that we offer on the project portal and the digital badge series that supports the student learning experience. So under the faculty tab on the website, we have a section called How It Works, because we wanted to be really explicit about all of the things that we've put together for the university community. And if you've ever heard my colleague Mara speak about the Experiential Learning Network and speak about the things that we do, they're all really intentionally collaborative. So we don't have ELN students, we have university students. And part of the work of our office is really to support everyone on campus in being able to design, provide, offer, implement high impact experiential learning opportunities. So this page is to make sure that every campus partner that we collaborate with can get the most out of what we're doing. So you'll see the three key bullet points under How It Works is that through the project portal and the series of digital badges, we have categories that directly benefit faculty. We have categories that directly benefit the strategic communications of the university. And then we're always working towards capacity building So how can we not stay static, but always keep growing and building, particularly with how this model can be scaled up over time? So we have a series of 4 digital badges. I don't want to get too deeply into each of these because um, they're going to be evolving over the summer and tightened up from our first year of piloting. But basically, these series of activities are the more granular level of what I was speaking about before with the Pearl model. So students will set goals and intentions explicitly at the outset. And then the project mentor has set up a series of preparation activities for the students to explicitly gain the context around the project's topic, to broaden their horizons and understanding of how the work that they're doing is important in broader contexts. And then I'll jump down to the Reflection Digital Badge, which we're designing a lot of our mini projects around, which is to specifically reflect on experiences that you've had through various lenses. But the most important part of this badge is to weave your experiences and growth into a narrative that employers will value. So often students are building skills. They might have really, really polished, excellent skills in a particular area, but they don't know how to talk about it. And so the series of activities that we've designed in this badge are such that we really intentionally try to grow the students' ability to talk about their achievements and their skills and competencies in the context of their future career field. And then I think that's all I really wanted to share about the project portal's digital badges. Many of you might be familiar with the project portal if you've taken a peek at it before, but it's really just this search engine of currently 164 projects. We started the year with 97, so we're on track to potentially double our numbers in the first academic year. And ultimately the goal is to scale this up to the point where we have the capacity to support any student interested in project-based experience to build skills for their career, that we have an opportunity for them to get involved, and we have sort of the infrastructure that would actually support a growing number of students' interests. So they can sort of filter by the category. Many of you know that we sort of adopted Kirka over last summer. So many of the projects that we started with were migrated from the Kirka website. So you'll see our numbers in the research area are particularly high, and we're intentionally working to grow our local and global community projects over time. So students can also filter by cross-cutting interdisciplinary themes, or they can search by the decanal unit that they're a part of. So that's just really a broad overview of the project portal itself. And now let's take a deeper dive into the remote projects specifically. So we designed everything on our website using shared content so that we can use a tagging structure for all of those different categories. And one of the categories is remote projects. So every time we add a remote project, it automatically populates on this page. So you'll see there are a number of global opportunities that Mara is leading. But you'll also note that, for example, the Soft Skills Studio, it's an opportunity for students to explore leaders in their industry and contribute to their own development of their soft skills, while also actually populating a digital soft skills catalog. So every time a student is working towards growing their own development, how can their activity benefit future students? So we're being mindful of the ways that we can always leverage the productivity and the learning of students towards their peers. So this is one that Mara actually came up with and designed as an offering for students. Um, and then over here on the right-hand side, we have the Reflection Project Series. These just launched earlier in the week, and they're really designed to help students grow in specific scenarios. So you'll see um, the four are really centered around different places that students might be in right now. Many students might not have a clearly defined academic path. They might be considering changing their major or deciding what their major or academic path might be. And while of course there's advising across campus for students to have those kinds of conversations with others, part of clarifying your academic pathway is also a lot of personal reflection and considering what sorts of things you might find as a passion in your career field. So what we've done is, using the structure of our Reflection digital badge, we've also built in this secondary assignment that prompts students to really explore emerging career fields that align with their interests, and connect them with resources in career services and the Center for Excellence in Writing as they prepare their materials for this assignment. So to get started, all students really need to do is sign up for the Reflection badge and begin the activities that are in the UB Learns module. So we will use UB Learns to deliver the content to students. So after signing up, they'll be enrolled in that digital badge section, and they'll be able to begin completing the activities in the badge, some of which actually get their specificity from individual project pages like this. So the badges are designed to be responsive to all projects. So it's sort of a broad shell that allows the specificity to come from pages like this. And then you'll see that this section right here really prompts the student to work through their preparation. And then you'll notice at the bottom, I'm actually the mentor for all of these mini projects in the Reflection series. So students will be able to actually directly set up a meeting with me if they would like sort of virtual mentorship along the way. I'll briefly just share an overview of these other mini reflection projects, and then we can really open it up for questions and talk about how some of these might apply to the students you're working with, or how we can use this model to begin designing experiences that can plug into the project portal really quickly in order to speedily offer these opportunities for students. So this next one right here is prompting students to explore research and innovation at UB. So one thing that we've found is that students sometimes don't see themselves through the lens of a researcher or see themselves as doing research. So we really are trying to prompt students to think about ways that they might get involved through the exploration of what exists on campus. So often students don't even know of all the opportunities that exist at their fingertips because there is so much really offered to UB students around campus and all the little nooks and crannies, whether it's a department or a division or an office like mine, students sometimes don't know where to get started. So we're really hoping to deploy this project all around campus as a way for students to explore and see the ways that research might be a path for them to gain experience. And one of the great things about research is that it takes so many forms and that it's not just in a laboratory setting. So through this remote project, we might be able to reach a lot of students and spark that interest for building experiences in the name of research anywhere in the world. you know, whether they're in Buffalo or back home anywhere in the world, they can still continue to stay involved and build on their experiences through any of these projects. And then this one right here really focuses on helping students get prepared for their career opportunity that might be coming up, or an internship that might be coming up, or one that they'd like to apply to. So again, one of the best ways to prepare for an interview experience for an internship or a job opportunity is to critically reflect on your experiences, and in addition, build the narratives that illustrate the skills and competencies that you've gained through your experiences. And a lot of students who do really incredible things just need that additional help in creating those stories that are compelling for future employers. So that's what this project really does, is it helps students narrow in on what those stories are and help them prepare for the opportunities they're trying to put themselves out there for, or take advantage of. So I think that's all I have for you right now as a sort of broad overview of the ELN, the project portal, our digital badges, and most recently our remote projects.
Hi, Charlie. This is Lauren from CEI. I have a few questions for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say I think this is phenomenal. Just the abundance of resources, how comprehensive it is. It just seems really great. If I was an undergraduate student, I'd probably jump in on this had I known back in the time. But one of my questions is, are some of these projects, or all or none, for credit, or are they all elective? Are some mandatory? How does it work kind of like in the grand scheme of how students get involved in this?
Yeah, so the digital badges themselves are co-curricular. They're not credit bearing at all. But in each individual project, there is a section called benefits, where faculty or community partners who list projects can actually specify what the takeaways are for students. So in some cases, if they're able to offer work study funding, faculty can pay students through work study. If they have a budget for funding, they can actually tell students that this is a funded position. One of the other categories is academic credit. So in some cases, in a lot of cases, faculty are willing to set up an independent study and actually track student progress and student work such that they are awarded independent study credits. That's the most common way right now. And one thing that we're working towards, again, when we're thinking about scale and ensuring every UB student has access to and exposure to experiential learning throughout their education, is embedding projects within courses. So rather than having the project just listed on the website for 1, 2, 5, 7 students to get involved, are what are the ways that these projects can be embedded in courses such that an entire course enrollment could be involved. So the two key ways are independent studies and projects embedded in courses, the latter of which we're working to expand.
Great, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Charlie. Thank you again for sharing this. My question is related to the last question, in terms of, at least for my first question will be, how are you working with the decanal units in providing these resources to students, one? And two, for the School of Management, most of these opportunities are part of a course, as you know. So how would we be able to marry the two so that it's a bit more seamless than we are currently doing? What are your thoughts?
So I would say the key way that we're collaborating with the units is at the faculty level. So because so many of the opportunities are opportunities that are offered by individual faculty members, I would say the majority of our collaboration is a is sort of that one-to-one collaboration. One of the ways that we're working to collaborate with units is on sort of the communication end. It's no small feat to build opportunities for students, but it's also really critical that we think about how communication is handled to ensure that students are exposed to the opportunities. So one of the ways that I've been doing that is because everything that we have built online is using shared content. That means that what we have built is dynamically populated throughout the university's websites if I've built that connection with the unit or department. I have just finished the pilot of that with the College of Arts and Sciences. So we tagged every single project with a department tag and a unit tag. So any College of Arts and Sciences department could come to me and say, I'd like all projects from the portal in the biology department to be listed on our website. And in a matter of 2 or 3 clicks, I can provide them the content. So every time a biology project is added, not only does it go to the project portal, it will be automatically populated on the biology website. So students are always up to date and in the know about projects that might be relevant to them. So that's just completed with the college, and I'll be working to do that with all of the schools who are interested and have projects. So that's sort of a window into the collaboration, is really through the communication and marketing of all of the opportunities.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Charlie, this is Maggie. How are you?
Great, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So all of that, what you were just describing to Dorothy, is that available for us to take a look at or other people to take a look at, or does that go specific to the schools? Because maybe there's a project that like College of Art and Science did that maybe Dorothy could, kind of manipulate for her work. Is there a way we could look up that information?
Could you clarify what specifically, are you talking about specific projects that you might want to cross-list in other units?
Yes, yeah. Exactly.
Absolutely. So because we're only able to operate with the data that we have, if I were to become aware of that collaboration or that cross-listing, your interest in cross-listing the projects, you could just send me an email and I could tag it in a way that would make it populate in those different areas. But right now, because of the way that things are set up, I'm only able to sort of glean that information based on the affiliation of the faculty members department. So of course, all projects are interdisciplinary in nature, or most of them are. But as of right now, we don't have a lot of cross-listing set up. Because we want it to be accurate as possible, we'd have to gather that information from the people listing the projects.
Okay, good, thank you.
One thing that I'll add is that in the ELN, we're always interested in dreaming things up. So as faculty become interested in new possibilities and new opportunities for experiential learning and for projects, how dynamic and interdisciplinary they can be, we're always really excited to just sit down and get creative with our whiteboards and build it. So if you have an interest in how you can use our system, we really tried to build it in a way that's responsive to as many situations and scenarios as possible. So an example of that is, until recently, we didn't directly offer an opportunity for students to complete a project for credit that wasn't led by a faculty member. But because we saw so many across the entire university in the switch to distance learning, the potential for many students who were involved in credit-bearing internships to not be able to complete their internships on site, we wanted to creatively think of a way that students could still meaningfully engage with their experience and their leveraging that towards their future goals. So we created the Complete Your Experiential Learning course project. And we use that project as a mechanism to provide a standard series of assignments or activities for students to sort of round out their semester in a really meaningful way. And because so many faculty who might be mentoring or leading those internships or credit had other core courses, we wanted to provide an opportunity for faculty to adopt that as the way to complete their course-bearing requirements for students in those scenarios. So the way that we did that was we used the infrastructure of all of our digital badges and the project portal as it stood, but we created an additional form for faculty to indicate their approval of the students in their course to gain the credit upon satisfactorily completing those assignments. So we have a few dozen students who are enrolled in that as an option. And because that's a pilot, it's the first time we're doing it, we're really excited to learn a lot from that experience and potentially weave more opportunities like that into the project portal over time. So that's an example of, like, we saw a need in the community, we figured out how we could respond to that need in the structures that already existed, and we quickly built it and shared it with as many people as would find it useful or interesting.
So if I could just add to that, I don't know, Charlie, if you're referring to the arrangement that we're piloting the semester with my course, some of my courses, but to answer one of the questions that came through, one of my courses, we do it in the fall, where we have a class time, we prepare, we plan, we do projects, and then we are gone for the winter term. But we use ELN for the second part of the course. And to Charlie's point, I'm having students follow what ELN is providing, so that as they think through all the experience for their trip and all that, they are working through the processes. And the idea is to be able to have a holistic experience by following that, and then being part of a virtual poster presentation in the School of Management, but also being able to fulfill the Pell requirement. So it is the first time, and we'll see how it goes. But so far, I am very pleased with the way they are able to work on their own with some supervision, but basically on their own to follow the instructions to do that.
Right. Yep. And we sort of just present everything for the student to sort of easily navigate on their own. And it provides sort of that foundation and baseline of support. And then we, throughout the process, both the faculty, of course, is always there for mentoring and support. And then for anything related to the digital badges, we offer mentoring directly to the students as well. So they're at any point able to sign up for a meeting with an ELN staff member, and those meetings go directly on our calendars. So it is really a great support system for students as they're navigating not only these experiences regularly, but in this new context of distance learning. And so I guess I would also add, Dorothy, one of the things that I don't know if you've spoken with Mara about is she just launched her virtual study abroad for the fall semester because, and she's following the same itinerary as if students were going with her to Tanzania. She's translated that into a fall semester course that is virtual study abroad. So students will be signing up for a psychology psychology course, and through their enrollment in that fall course, will actually, it's an early morning course, so there will be teleconferencing with her community partners in the various villages and towns that she visits, and it'll be live interaction with her partners, and from that, students will actually be able to select her Tanzanian projects on the portal work on those projects, and throughout the course of the semester, have real touch points with the community partners in Tanzania. So I offer that as an example of how you might consider transitioning some of your global opportunities into virtual study abroad or virtual global opportunities through credit-bearing structures.
Yeah, and I have a scheduled call with her for maybe tomorrow, but yeah, that's something that I'm already putting some things in place to have that possibility, because at least for the near term,
Yeah,
we don't.
great. Are there any other questions?
One other question that I have is, for the School of Management, we don't only do outside the country global experience. We also have what we call Experience the 50s, which is anywhere beyond Buffalo. So my question to you is that, is there a similar process that we could scale, adjust to fit for a domestic experience? And that's something that you may have seen in some of the examples that we're using with your team now, in terms of our students who went to Disney. I'm having them go through the same process, but it's a bit different than if you go, for example, you go to Tanzania.
Yeah, and I think one of the key things that I always come back to when I think about experiences in general, but particularly as we're working to either transition experiences or build new experiences in the virtual world, the distance learning world, is that as long as there is a tangible outcome that is mutually beneficial and adds value to the student and the partner, that it will be a worthwhile learning experience. And if it's based in a relationship that you, the faculty member, have with a partner, either at Disney World or in Ghana, anywhere in the world, if you're able to leverage that partnership and that relationship towards the outcome of a project, that would be both valuable for that partner and valuable for the student's learning experience. I think if you work within those parameters, anything that you come up with would be worthwhile and beneficial. So I'm happy to dream stuff up with you if you ever want to talk through that. Awesome. Well, if there aren't any other questions, I'll turn it over to the moderator to help us wrap up.
That would be me. Let me just turn my video back on. Fantastic. All right. So I'm Jessica with CEI. I'm one of the learning designers, and we all work together and we all know who we are. So I want to just give a big thank you and a hello to Miss Dorothy. If you have any questions or there's anything for ELN that you need, feel free to reach out to Charlie or reach out to our office. But once we end the call, Charlie, it'll upload everything to the cloud or wherever you're having it saved, then we can make it available. We're all set. Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye, Maggie.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.